Let's keep an eye out for our missing witness. We still need him to testify. Should be easier to spot now that everything's back to normal.
Oh, yeah, baby. Come on.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel released a couple deleted scenes from WandaVision that explain a couple major plot holes in general storylines that they kind of dropped during the finale and never really answered in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness or even the later movies, so we'll break it all down. The reason why we got these deleted scenes is because they're releasing the WandaVision Blu-ray. They're doing that for the Loki Blu-ray. Star Wars is doing the same thing with The Mandalorian too, so we're giving away a couple of copies because it is a holiday week. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and let me know what you want them to do with the Quicksilver character in the MCU going forward when they introduce a bunch more X-Men. We'll see a bunch of the older X-Men coming back in Deadpool 3 and then again during Avengers Secret Wars. So they're already doing some classic X-Men characters, but I'm talking about beyond Marvel Phase 7 when they introduce the new MCU versions of the characters. But there are a couple storylines that they resolve with this Ralph Bohner Quicksilver deleted scene, this alternate ending. It's just one of the 2 deleted scenes that we got. They'll follow up on both of them during the WandaVision spin-off series Agatha Darkhold Diaries next year, Halloween 2024. That's meant to be a spin-off of the WandaVision series, but it's not like WandaVision Season 2 because they'll get into a bunch of different witch, chaos magic, just magic-related stuff in general. This Quicksilver deleted scene is important for a couple reasons. It explains what happened to him at the end of the series, he literally cuts the ankle bracelet off in escaped federal custody. They were in the process of arresting him with the sword, people like Tyler Hayward. He's also rumored to be coming back at some point during the Agatha show, but they didn't say what he'd be doing during that. He might just be there for the sake of continuity, for a cameo scene at the beginning, to explain what happens to Agatha when she breaks out of Scarlet Witch's spell. The series is going to take place in Westview, though. So the whole idea is that when she was enchanted again by Scarlet Witch back into her sitcom role, she went back to living at Ralph Bohner's house, believing that she was his wife. When in reality, when the series was actually going on, she was not under Scarlet Witch's spell, and she was mind-controlling Ralph Bohner to think that he was Quicksilver with Quicksilver's powers. So Scarlet Witch just made that sitcom reality real for Agatha while the spell is active. But the idea here, as you can see, he's kind of hobbling here, he looks kind of normal. He only has his Quicksilver powers when Agatha wasn't under Scarlet Witch's spell. That's also why his haircut is different from what it was earlier during the finale episode. He looks completely different, even his personality seems kind of different. So this scene when he comes hobbling in to cut off his ankle bracelet and then try to escape into the distance is meant to be happening during the WandaVision ending right after the Monica Rambeau scene where she says goodbye to Scarlet Witch and she flies off with the Darkhold to go to her cabin in the wilderness to read from it. The other reason why this scene is important, and some of you probably picked up on this if you watched the scene a couple times, is it reveals that Ralph Bohner was the witness that Jimmy Woo was coming to Westview to find at the very beginning of the series.
I've got a witness set up down the road in Westview, and this morning it looked like he flew the coop.
Your missing person is in the witness protection program. None of them have seen him either.
No. None of them have ever heard of him.
If you didn't remember, the whole reason why he showed up at the Hex was because he lost contact with his witness that he'd had in witness protection. So many people asked the same question after they revealed that never actually followed up on who his mystery witness was. Who was the person that he was there looking for in the first place? Turns out it was Ralph Bohner. And from the look of it here in this scene, it's not totally clear if Ralph Bohner knows that Jimmy Woo is the agent that he'd been working with this whole time before Scarlet Witch created the Hex and Agatha took over his mind, turning him into Quicksilver. Or if he did know that Jimmy was there looking for him and just didn't want to have anything to do with him or the federal agents and was just trying to escape their custody and just vanish into the wind like White Vision, who is also still MIA. Supposedly they're still doing that White Vision series, the Vision Quest series, but I haven't heard anything about it recently. There are a bunch of other deleted scenes with his version of Quicksilver that took place before this during the big final battle. So one of the biggest things that they had to get rid of in the storyline was a big subplot with Evan Peters' Ralph character, Monica Rambeau, the Darkhold, Senior Scratchy, and the twins, and Darcy's character. So what was going to happen is that Evan Peters' character, Ralph Bohner, was going to catch Monica Rambeau snooping on their house. Snooper's gonna snoop. But while they were there, once Monica Rambeau freed him of Agatha Harkness's influence, he was actually going to turn good and try to help them stop Agatha Harkness and take the Darkhold. So while Scarlet Witch and Agatha Harkness are having their battle, their back and forth during the finale, you have all this separate stuff happening with Ralph, Monica Rambeau, Darcy, and the twins character trying to steal the Darkhold from Agatha Harkness's basement, or technically it was Ralph's basement. What was going to happen though is that Senior Scratchy was going to be guarding it for Agatha Harkness. So in the last couple of episodes that we saw him, you just see Agatha Harkness stroking him like, oh, clearly there's going to be some sort of reveal. Like we found out that she was Agatha Harkness, but they haven't fully revealed what was going on with the bunny this whole time. So while Monica Rambeau is busy freeing Ralph, you have the twins moving in to help because Billy and Tommy want to do something too. They wind up going to Agatha Harkness's house, and then as they go down into the basement, down into her lair that she had enchanted with all those runes, Senior Scratchy was going to turn into a giant demon and literally try to scratch them. Like that was what the name was all about. Like a funny reference about him having giant claws. A lot of people heard this and they're like, does that mean that he was going to turn into Mephisto or some larger, more important Marvel comic book demon? No, he was just going to turn into a general demon that was being controlled by Agatha Harkness. So you have this big fight scene with Monica Rambeau, Ralph in the background cowering in fear, and then the twins using their powers as well, trying to stop Senior Scratchy while they try to get their hands on the Darkhold. Now obviously Agatha Harkness still winds up getting the Darkhold during the finale, so eventually they would have been unsuccessful, but it would have been a much bigger Marvel movie-style action scene where you see Monica Rambeau using her powers in a bigger way, the twins using their powers in a bigger way. And you would have had a bigger payoff for the Ralph character, because obviously we all wonder what happens to Ralph after the end of the series. Like Evan Peters' character just goes back to his normal life because she enchants Agatha Harkness back into that identity of the nosy neighbor, and presumably she's just going to move back into his house. So the whole idea is that after that fight is done, they wind up capturing him, putting him into custody, and this is when he's escaping. Like this is when this deleted scene picks up. If he really does wind up showing up at the beginning of the Agatha show, what they'll probably say is that Agatha breaks free of Scarlet Witch's spell once her essence transfers into the Witch's Road dimension, which is meant to be like a separate dimension inside the MCU multiverse. It's based on the Witch's Road dimension from the comics. Only witches are able to enter it using their power, but basically the idea at the end of Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, when she sacrifices herself, her chaos magic, like her body acts to automatically protect it, so it transfers her essence using her chaos magic to this Witch's Road dimension. It's a little bit like the way that life and death work during the Moon Knight series. Like they kind of explain that in the MCU, how your consciousness transfers to other dimensions. That's basically what happened to Scarlet Witch. She's not supposed to be back in the physical MCU main universe till Avengers 5, but they'll reference her during the Agatha show because her now adult son, Billy Kaplan, aka Wiccan, is back in the MCU, being played by Joe Locke. He'll be one of the characters who helps her return to the main dimension. That's not meant to happen for a while though. He's going to be doing Young Avengers related stuff before that too. Ms. Marvel putting together a team. And if you're still confused about how Ralph Boner's Quicksilver powers worked, essentially Agatha used her magic to enchant him, giving him super speed, and the powers were similar to those of Quicksilver. So the funny thing about that, some of you probably thought about this, is that in order to do that, she'd have to have seen or met the real version of Quicksilver or a real version of Quicksilver from the multiverse. When the series originally aired, the theory was that he was meant to be a variant of the Evan Peters Quicksilver from the X-Men universe, which is also canon to the Deadpool movies.
I'm thrilled. I'm such a huge fan of the Marvel Universe, so I'm just excited to be here. And it's like, the character is so funny and
Pietro, but he looks different because it's Evan Peters.
and an interesting way to do it. Like when Kevin was telling me about it, I was like, oh, that sounds awesome and hilarious and so weird.
But all the X-Men that are meant to be coming back during that movie are meant to be the classic Bryan Singer versions of the characters. So I don't know if his first class version of the Quicksilver character is going to come back during Secret Wars. We'll see. We'll probably get that first Deadpool 3 trailer sometime early next year, but if we get any teasers before that, of course I'll do videos for it. It is going to be crazy, as you would expect. There was another WandaVision alternate ending deleted scene that they released with Agatha. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do a video for that too. I'm working on my Invincible Season 2 Episode 4 video that should post pretty soon, and there was a brand new Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths movie trailer. I'll do a video for that next. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that stuff. Click here to learn about the Loki Scarlet Witch post-credit scene Easter eggs, and click here for my Loki Season 3 video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.